Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And Hollywood is big mad at Midjourney, and this is after Hollywood has made all kinds of efforts to go all in on AI, but Disney and Universal are suing Midjourney for copyright.
Now, to be fair, when you look at we show you the examples, there is blatant copyright infringement. I mean, there's no question here. I just find it highly ironic that Disney wants a trial by jury after they've gone to so much lengths to try to avoid letting other people have trial by jury, and that they also are mad about how they're abusing copyright law, that they themselves spent a shit ton of money to make sure they manipulated to keep their own stuff. I just found it ironic, even though they're not wrong in this regard. It is bad, but I find the irony is still there.
Disney
Two things can be true at once.
Disney does what's best for Disney, right? Mm-hmm. They're gonna be like, you're violating our rights, and also we want to, keep people from using Mickey Mouse in any capacity for decades and centuries.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
You get another woohoo if you go out to badorcs.com and back this campaign for some orc pins. These are orcs doing naughty things. Orcs are not people. They're not good. They're monsters. They do bad stuff and take lewd pictures of themselves, apparently. So go out to badorcs.com.
Do I have to give a woohoo for that?
You don't have to.
Well, I can give you an orc woohoo. Woohoo! That's my best orc woohoo.
Okay, don't Google orc woohoo, because I'm sure you're going to find some really, really bad orcs doing some really bad stuff. That might be your thing, though. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about this. Going out to Pirates and Princesses, you're going to walk me through the basics of this, and then we're going to take a look, I guess, at the lawsuit.
Okay. So what's going on is, I guess this Midjourney has been using copyrighted imagery owned for cartoons and stuff and different shows owned by Disney and Universal, which ironically, a lot of things Disney's complaining about they paid for. It wasn't that something they invented, but they own the rights. And when you look at it, it's pretty bad. Like, it's pretty damning. It's definitely copyright infringing. But they're talking about how they've asked them to stop. They've asked them to put, stop measures in place. Remember the people were doing the Pixar posters and stuff, and Disney asked them to stop letting them happen, and they did. And I know when you use different AI things, you try to do something generated with a character, they'll tell you they can't. Well, they asked them repeatedly to stop it, and they didn't stop it. Instead, according to the lawsuit, they put a new version out and doubled down on the infringement.
Interesting. Okay, so they have examples in the document?
Yeah. In the document, I have a couple on the thing, but the document has examples if you go down through it. They talk about how they asked them repeatedly to, cease and desist, basically, or put some stopgap in place, use technological things to block their characters out, and they didn't do it. And according to the lawsuit, Midjourney made $300 million last year in subscriptions and $200 million the year before on subscriptions, and then they used this stuff as examples. I guess they also have like an image generator thing, and they're using it in that. And Disney and Universal arguing, which they're right. People could look at that and think that they're endorsing them when they're not.
Yeah, it's going to get really interesting, isn't it? Because now we have video that looks as good as live video.
That's what they're worried about. They're worried people are going to start using it for video as well and start making their own movies based on their characters.
And we've got, you could very easily, the average person, you need a little bit of technical know-how, but the average person can easily deep fake video footage now with real people too. So is it going to get to a point where we're going to have some kind of like digital thumbprint or watermark or something, not just on our IP, but like our likenesses themselves, right? Like you can't make me get it on with an orc or something because I don't consent. Well, no, because that's what they're doing with celebrities too. And some of the new video AI models that they have out are, it's uncanny how good they are. It looks like real people.
Well, the problem is like you said, using the people's images without consent, but that has to extend past celebrities to the normal person. And I think that's what the problem is here. Disney would probably be okay with it if they were training their AI on other people's art. Yeah. I'm not saying they are. I'm saying that it would probably be okay if they did it. And I guess part of the concern is that right now, as it stands, that AI generated stuff is not copywritten. I think if it's this based on IP, it probably could. You have grounds for argument.
Yeah.
But if you generate a movie in AI, you can't copyright it, which is why Hollywood's mad already, because they want to copyright that shit so that they can just make stuff with AI all the time. And then, oh, look, we have copyright.
That's what I'm like, I mean, just objectively speaking, you're going to have to, if we're going to use AI, and I, again, people who watch shall know, I am a proponent of the ethical use of AI as a tool for creators. I'm not for, and it will just naturally replace some creators, but I'm not for, again, lifting other people's stuff like this and being like, yeah, I'm just going to make my own, How to Train Your Dragon movie or something. And
well, they're arguing that people are backing this, Midjourney partly because they have access to generate their own stuff using their characters, and they have grounds. They really truly do. If you scroll down some more, if you go down to this thing, there's some pictures they pull up. Even in their some of their searches and stuff, it's very blatant. It's a ways down. Just hold on. You'll find it. It's a very long document.
Ever.
Yeah. So like they're showing Disney's version and what they come up with.
I'm sorry. He's got a little tiny head.
I know, but I'm just saying they're trying to make a couple little small changes to say it's different, but it really isn't. You don't look at that and think it's something different. You look at it and immediately think Yoda, Stormtrooper. You know what I mean? Yeah. They go through Marvel characters. They go through Simpsons. They go for a bunch of characters through here. There's R2 and 3PO.
He's got 4 legs.
And then like 3PO's looks like his legs are truncated. And then there's like their Vader, and that's definitely Vader. There's no.
Yeah, it's definitely Chewie with shoes.
He has shoes on. I can't see him.
Shoes on.
Okay, so we put shoes on him, and now it's not Chewbacca.
It's 25% different.
Chewbacca, and it's all good.
Chewbacca. Well, it's like I would look at Solo, and I'd be like, oh, they changed him. Just actually, Chewie looks like Chewie by AI because his bandolier, he's got 2 straps instead of 1 strap like he had in the original trilogy. So it's like, and he's also wearing shoes. But this is like, it's really close.
It's very big. They go through different ones. They have Marvel. They have ones that like Shrek and stuff like that, and Simpsons. And, there's some differences, but like that one's pretty much almost exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the differences are so minute that you can't even really tell there's any difference on some of these. And they have like tons of examples. And they talk later, if you keep scrolling down a little ways, they talk later about how when you go to their search pages, they're using it on their, keep going down. It's a very long document. It's
every Disney character ever. We're going to
wait, go down. Sully, look back up. That's their version. That's weird. Anyway, if you keep going down, like they talk about, this article is so long. Keep going. There's a ways. Just scroll through these all.
Okay.
You'll come to it eventually. Go on. It goes on.
Their
and on.
Shrek looks better than Shrek in Shrek 5.
Probably. Here, like they're talking. No, that's still not it. That's still not it. Keep going.
God.
They're saying they're worried they're going to use it for films and stuff too.
Well, they already are. They have fake trailers on YouTube, and I get that. I mean, again, that for me, that's kind of the difference. I mean, I do goofy ass thumbnails or whatever, but like if you're actually doing using AI for, like, I'm going to do a fan film or something and it's going to look as good or close to what Hollywood can output and people might not know the difference. That is kind of a problem,
that's what they're saying. Right? They're arguing that people might mistake it as being endorsed by, Disney, or Disney agreed to them making this film or Universal. And what they're saying is right. People could easily think that, that they were allowed to do it based on this. So anyway, they're going to you're at the right place. They're talking about the searches, and when you do like a thing to try to sell their services, this stuff kind of comes up. And some of the stuff I can see being ripped off and sold as prints at like Artist Alley. Some of the things look like they're ripped off and sold as prints.
Yeah, actually, this Deadpool with the paint splatter. That's actually a nice image. That's actually a good image. Like that would catch my eye at a convention.
I'm saying these are people who are generating these and probably selling them because they're copyright free. But then you have to ask yourself, when does copyright free become copyrighted? And I think in this case, Disney and Universal are correct. Their stuff's being stolen. And they told Midjourney to knock the shit off repeatedly, and Midjourney wouldn't. So they gave them plenty of chances to stop. Like, oh, maybe you're unaware. And they instead doubled down and released a second version, which, leaned into this stuff even more, according to the lawsuit. So they're getting sued, and they're asking for either a temporary or immediate or permanent, cease and desist blockage so that they can't do it. What's the word I'm looking for?
Injunction.
Injunction. Yeah. Sorry. I've just, today has been a day. An injunction to stop them. And they also want financially compensated, because of course they do, for either whatever the percentage of their subscriptions have been used to generate their content, or whatever, like the largest amount they're allowed to get. But it's funny in the lawsuit. It's like, my client prays that the court will. I'm like, you pray? Disney doesn't pray. Are you allowed to say that, Disney? Are you allowed to say the word prayer? Because, how dare you? But at the end of the day, what made me really like go, this is kind of amusing, is that they are seeking a trial by jury. Now, if you recall, Disney has tried to block trial by jury several times. We know with the Gina Carano, they keep trying to block a court case. They kept trying to block that. But the one that stands out is the wrongful death, the accidental death of that doctor. And they tried to say, well, and they're doing it now. If you use Disney Plus or our Disney apps, you waive all rights to trial by jury and are forced arbitration by our what we want. And I think, isn't that kind of, really shitty of Disney that you're going to force everybody else to go to arbitration, not allow trial by jury, but you're going to demand a trial by jury?
Yeah, right.
Shouldn't you just go to arbitration with Midjourney, Disney? Isn't that the way to go? Because you're strong arming, everybody else. They can't sue you, but yet it's okay if you sue everybody else.
Well, so what they'll do, I think what they're trying to do is, this is just my layman's guess here. They're not trying to stop it completely. I think Disney wants to get control of it somehow, or set precedent somehow, so they can start charging people. Oh, you're gonna make a Deadpool? Cool. You can make a Deadpool. You can buy some D credits, and you can make Deadpool. You can have Deadpool stand with you in a picture.
Because that could be brand damaging. I don't know if they'll allow that, because someone uses Deadpool in the wrong way. Even though Deadpool, is there any wrong way to use Deadpool? Deadpool's at church or something. Come to vacation Bible school. I'm just saying, it's like, you'd be saved like Deadpool. They're probably worried about like brand damage. So I don't think that they would allow that, because it would also like cheapen the brand, as if everybody could just use it without paying them licensing fees. So I doubt very much that Disney's ever going to actually do that, in my opinion.
Well, I think that, okay, so that was one possibility I was thinking, just for personal use. The other big one is these companies, these studios are going to start using AI in their workflow. Yes. And you can't tell me, as an executive who doesn't know much about computers, let's say this guy doesn't know much about AI or how it works or the details, these executives are going to be looking at these images and being like, damn, that AI stuff did this. Why are we paying all those CG artists how much money to do it when we can just have the AI do it? But to be able to do that, you're going to have to be able to lock down your IP somehow and be like, we're the only ones, which in that case, if you own it, I agree with that. I think if it's not overreach, if it's like, these are our characters, we're the only ones who can make AI versions of these characters, they're somehow locked down to the Walt Disney Company, and we're able to do it in-house, but nobody else can do it. I actually agree with that.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: you'd have to be able to prove that you only trained the AI on your own stuff. Like if you're using outside stuff, but to be fair, like Disney has so much stuff that would be, they own just most everything.
Feed everything you've ever done. It wouldn't be
hard for them. But like other companies, you'd have to prove that you trained your AI on your own stuff. You weren't using other people's stuff to train your AI. Like if you're like a comic book artist and you want to train the AI on your stuff, that's okay. You just can't train the AI on other people's stuff and then have it, switch it around to somebody else.
People are doing that. And that actually, again, this goes back to what I was saying about the ethical use of AI. I think the ethical use of AI is if a studio or a production house wants to use it to save time, to do things that they maybe couldn't afford to do, but you have to have some guardrails somewhere and be like, you can't like just make, again, a bunch of like Deadpool fan films and try to pass them off as a Marvel production. But if you've got your own character, or your own characters, you should be able to lock down your characters and use them however you want to use them.
Right, and you should be able to, if Disney's allowed to say, hey, this is my IP, you can't take it, that everybody else should be allowed to say that too. The problem is they don't have the money to go to court to fight it. Like if they felt Disney, and I mean, let's be honest here, it's kind of ironic about copyright anyway. I mentioned this in the article too. they're mad. They said that, it's manipulating. I forget how they worded exactly. It's in my article, but they're worried that's manipulating copyright laws. And it's like the U.S. copyright laws, which I think is highly effing ironic, given that Disney has done so much, lobbied so many times to get copyright law changed.
Right.
To benefit themselves.
Yes.
But they're now mad about how it's misusing copyright law when they themselves, did what they had to do to get things changed, which is kind of manipulating copyright law as well. Also, they're like, Disney's the last place to be saying this, given that you have Kimba and Simba, and just because people can't prove in court things were stolen, there's a lot of similarities. You have to ask yourself, because we know Disney has a track record of. I can tell you for a fact when we had to sign things when they looked at our stuff for first looks and stuff like that, optioning. You had to agree that if it just happened that, oh my gosh, something exactly like your stuff just happened to appear, that it was just simply coincidental and Disney is not liable for it. And it's like, I know for a fact the one show they had was called something completely different, had a different premise when it was announced, because I had the pull up of the announcement in the trades. And then what it turned out to be after our pitch was there, including the name change to something almost exactly like ours, it was a little coincidentally weird.
It was a little coincidental.
It was way too many things to be like.
It was a lot of coincidences, yes.
And it was after they saw our pitch. It was like, well, that's a little bit weird, And I'm not saying that they took it for sure, but I'm just like, there was enough to make you go, huh?
Yeah.
So it's okay when they do it and they put things legally into these contracts that they can steal your shit illegally. I'm sorry. It just happened to be accidentally be exactly like you were doing or very similar to your idea, but it has nothing to do with them taking it. But they're mad because another place is using theirs. Now, the difference is this stuff is obviously blatant copyright theft.
Right.
That's the difference.
This is where it's going to get interesting, though, because again, you bring up, and this is what they said. They said Midjourney's conduct misappropriates Disney's and Universal's intellectual property and threatens to upend the bedrock incentives of U.S. copyright law, unlike Disney, that drive American leadership in movies, television, and other creative arts. So, what I have a concern. Okay, so let's say that they win this. Let's say that we get some new laws at some point, which I think we do need, that you can lock down your intellectual property, that only you, if you're training an AI to help you, that you're the only ones that can do, Deadpool or, Darth Vader or whatever, because you own it, right? And I think that's fair. What happens if Disney's like, yeah, your superhero character looks too similar to Deadpool, it's the same color scheme or whatever, even though it's not actually Deadpool, yeah, we're going to shut you down too. Oh, this over here, yeah, we think that your space soldier, whatever, even though it doesn't really look like a stormtrooper, most people can tell it's not an actual Star Wars stormtrooper. We think it's too similar, so we're going to shut you down. Yeah,
and the thing
too.
is, they would
use it to bully smaller studios.
They've done it before. It's frivolous bullshit. And the thing is, Hollywood's all watching this because Hollywood, you have to remember, they're out there trying to get AI to be allowed to be copywritten, because right now, if you generate AI stuff, now I think it was blatant IP copying like this, I can see where there's a problem. But then if you generate IP stuff, they generate a new movie using IP. They want to be able to copyright that, so Joe Blow can't go make a something similar using AI. Because right now, if they would make an AI film whole cloth, then it could be taken because it's not copyrightable. Right. So they're trying to change those laws to benefit themselves, but at the same time, they're going to use those. You're going to try to use that same stuff against other people.
I think how you do it is the character. Somehow you create a digital. I mean, it's just me thinking outside the box here, but somehow you create a digital key, like oh my God, guys, NFTs, some kind of digital key that studio has this database or whatever of this particular character, and if a production uses that particular character, then it belongs to them. But the actual movie itself, like the sets and all that kind of shit, unless it's something that's like you've actually locked down, no. But like Avengers headquarters, yes. The Avenger costumes, yes.
This is why I think it can still be using people, because you're going to need people to develop the characters and some of the stuff to prove
keep track of it all.
Well, no, I've been saying to prove it was human generated to begin with. That even if the AI would take it and run with it, you could argue I can copyright this because humans develop. It was our art that trained it. It was our art. I think in that case, you might be able to get a copyright for it. But it's a very slippery slope. And I just find it highly ironic. But again, like I said, I think Disney and Universal are completely in the right on this. I think they are completely correct. But I can also think it's ironic that Disney is arguing these things when they themselves have done the shit they've done. Two things could be true at the same time. And, that's where we're at.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. This is well, we'll go back to this article here real quick and then we'll wrap it up. But yeah, they said this is Hollywood's first lawsuit on AI, sends a warning to tech giants. Piracy is piracy, but it is like they're speaking out both sides of their mouth because they're like, yeah, piracy is piracy, but we want to go all in on AI. It's just they
right.
need to,
Disney started their own. That's what you flashed that one other article I brought up in mine article. They started a whole department just to work with AI and shit.
Well, okay, so this is what they're saying. This is the RAA chairman CEO Mitch Glazer. He said there's a clear path forward through partnerships that both further AI innovation and foster human artistry. Unfortunately, some bad actors like Midjourney see zero-sum winner-take-all game. Well, we could say the same about Disney probably. But I agree with that. Here, Bryn Moser, the head of Asteria, a generative AI film studio that says it is powered by the first clean and ethical AI model, told the Wrap he sides with Disney and Universal.
Yeah, I side with Disney and Universal on this one too.
I do.
Completely.
And again, this is the problem too, because it muddies the water for the usage of AI in general, because there are so many people out there that believe that AI is just an art theft machine. And when I'm talking about the use of AI, I'm talking about it being used as a tool, no different than Photoshop, right? And if you are training it on your own stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. Even if it references something, I mean, look, how do human artists learn how to draw? They're going to
everything references everything else.
Right?
It's all done in some way.
But I am 100% on board with using AI as a tool. And it sounds like that's what we have to figure out. We have to figure out, like, okay, how can we use AI as a tool and be able to lock down our creations? Because I think even a small creator needs, because if you just hypothetically speaking, 5 or 10 years from now, you create a comic book that uses AI generated elements, and that's going to be the new normal. It will be within a couple of years. How do you lock that down and not have somebody say, well, hey, you used some AI in this, so you don't own it, even though you wrote it? That's why I
said, if you have humans, you can prove the human component where it was written by humans, it was, the character designs were done by humans, et cetera, then you can prove that it was human element, that it was copyrighted because a human made it. But I think Hollywood's going to spend their money and lobby until they get rules in place that allow them to copyright stuff. And it's going to be one-sided. Damn well, they can steal everything, but you can't do anything, because that's what Disney, these people aces do. They leverage their money. You can't sue us. You can't go to trial by jury, but we want a trial by jury. The double standards will abound.
What is, man, they're talking 150,000 per infringed work is what they're looking for. So that would put Midjourney out of business.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I say. They're going by the amount of money per infringement, yeah, or like whatever maximum they're allowed to get based on the current laws.
Times how many millions of images? I mean, it's just an incalculable amount of money. Actually, I can see Disney and Universal walking away with Midjourney if they win.
That could be their goal, because it's already set up for AI, and then they could
Yeah, we'll just repurpose. We'll take Midjourney. We'll repurpose it, because Midjourney is one of the best models out there for photorealism. We'll take it and then we'll repurpose it into our the bedrock of our AI Hollywood AI machine.
Well, how much is it going to be till they start going after individuals who use the subscription to generate this stuff? I mean, how long till they try that shit?
I think what I'm afraid is going to happen here. AI is a powerful tool, a powerful creative tool. What I'm afraid is going to happen is it's going to be like early CGI and early Photoshop, where it becomes so cost prohibitive that the average person can't do it. So then the studios are like, well, we've got millions of dollars, billions of dollars. We can lock down the latest, greatest AI technology, and Joe Blow over here can't touch it. And that's a huge problem, because I'm looking at Blender too, and people are making Academy Award winning movies with Blender on $3 million. They don't want that. They don't want you to be able to do that, right?
No,
they want to control it,
because they want to make sure they're always the winners.
Right.
And that's what I'm worried about. That's something I'm concerned about here. Like, how far is double standard going to go? And I think it's going to go pretty far. And they could be trying to lock down like places like Midjourney or places like that, so that they can dictate. And again, I do side with Disney and Universal in this one.
Yes,
they are completely right. Their stuff it's definitely cross lines. There's no question there. I think they'd be hard pressed. Midjourney be hard pressed to defend it. But that being said, it's like, I also can think that it could be abused by Disney or even Universal, but mostly Disney. And I think that Disney is talking on both sides of their face. And I can think both those things at the same time. But it's interesting because Hollywood's going to see how this goes and they're all going to probably jump on the bandwagon. But I do wonder how long it's going to be until they're going to be allowed to go after individuals as beyond well, you knew better. You knew it was copyright infringing and you still did it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How dare you make Homer Simpson memes? You know,
right? So how long till they can go after people? You know.
Well, they'll probably what I can see happening is, you know, they'll just lock down certain characters, certain terms. I know ChatGPT already does it. Like if you try to, like I tried last year to get it to like, hey, could you give me an image of Batman for something? And it wouldn't do it. It's like I can't. It would start to generate it and they'd be like, nope, I cannot do that, Dave.
You did with Transformers too. You just wanted to see. It was your own work. It was your own work. It wasn't. You weren't asking it to generate.
This was about a year ago. I just wanted to see how good the AI was getting. So
the coloring tools.
The coloring tools. So I took my pencils and I said, here, could you color this? And it started to. It actually created the image, and it was like, it took my image and painted it, and it got like halfway through. I could see it rendering, and it's like, oh no, this is a Hasbro Transformer. We can't do that. So it stopped.
Or we could do it, but we have to change the colors and everything on it.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, then what's the point?
Yeah,
it's like, what's the point?
So but I mean, in your case, it was your own artwork that you had done.
Yeah, it was an experiment. I'm like, can I do that? I was like, can I do that? And let me put it to you this way. It is possible to do that. Will you be allowed to do it? No. Who's going to be allowed to do it? Disney and Universal with their infinite money code turned on. They'll be allowed to do that and take shortcuts. The big studios will, but you, pleb, will probably not be allowed to do that unless there's some way that you can lock down your own creations. And if that creation was not made by human hands originally, then you run the risk of it being, not something you can copyright, right?
Right. So anyway, we're going to wrap this up because it's going long, and we have to go see How to Train Your Dragon so we can review it for you guys later.
There we go. All right. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.